What's going on, YouTube world? This is your guy, Sealz the Man, and I'm back at you with another video. And then this video is going to be so important because I see it all the time. I see a lot of surprise parents. I see a lot of mistakes being made, unplanned mistakes. But in this video, I'm going to talk about planned childbirth. So I'm assuming that you're already in a good relationship, a healthy relationship, or that's what you're hoping for, right? So I'm gonna break down the questions. 6 questions you should ask your co-parent before having a child. Even if you're thinking about having a child, I feel like you should ask these questions, must-haves. But before we get into it, if you like these topics, if you like how I talk, if you rock with me, if you vibe with me, I want you to please subscribe to me. The subscribe button is below, this red box below this video box. Comment, let me know what you think. Please like this so I can get to the algorithm in YouTube so other people can find me just like you have. Thank you for that. Thank you for your support, and let's get to it. The thing I do not like is the lack of importance that couples place on having a kid. There's a lot of parentless kids out here, a lot of parentless people out here because their parents decided to leave because they lack the importance of having a child, and I'm one of them. My father left when he found out my mom was pregnant, but I turned out to be pretty good. But because of this, right, because of the situation that I know growing up fatherless, is that I wish everyone knew the importance of having a kid, man. Having a kid is not a hobby. A kid is not a toy. Having a kid is not just something you do. But when you look around your society, that seems to be the thing, right? But I always want to stress, please take into consideration how important it is to have a kid. Please try your best to prepare yourself. And for this video, prepare yourself with your partner, with the co-parent. The first question I want you to ask your significant other before you have a kid is, are you seriously ready to have a child? And most importantly, are you seriously ready to have a child with me? Those 2 questions sound the same, but they are totally different, and I'm going to explain why. Let's start off with the first one. Are you ready to have a child? And that encases a lot of things. Are you ready to sacrifice your time and your life to build another life? Are you ready to create another version of yourself? Are you ready to create a legacy? Are you ready to build? Are you ready to invest? Are you ready to be there for a child? Those are very important things you need to know from your significant other. Now, for the other question, are you ready to have a child with me? Meaning, do you believe I'm a fitting parent to have a child with? Do you believe I'm a fitting parent of a child, period? Do you think there's things I need to work on to be a better mother or father for this child we plan on having? Are you ready to bear a child with me? You see, having a relationship with someone and having a relationship with someone who has a child with you are 2 different things. Because when you have a relationship with someone, you're just, worried about her or him. You're pertaining to this one person. But when you have a relationship with someone with a child, the attention has diverted to 2 ways. Your attention is focused on one person, and then it's focused on another person. And in totality, y'all both should be having the most attention spent on the child. And that is because you realize the importance of having a child. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but the second question is, are you ready to invest, build, and dedicate your life to something other than yourself? So as you see, this is not going to work for selfish people. You shouldn't already be in a relationship with a selfish person, but even if you are, you cannot be in a relationship with a selfish person and have a kid with them. How are they going to function with this? They are selfish. They are about themselves. So how are they not going to be selfish? How are they not going to be themselves for someone else as important as their kid? So you got to be honest with yourself and honest with your relationship. Is this person willing, since they weren't willing to change themselves for you, or they were half willing to do it, are they 100% willing and committed to changing themselves for the betterment of their child? Are they? And that's another thing, right? You can't, I won't say can't, but it is very hard to someone who is stuck in their ways, who are hardened in their ways, to just change themselves overnight. So you need to ask this question. Be honest with this co-parent, this significant other. Yo, I understand we had our differences. I understand we have our problems with, with your personality, with my personality clashing, but we got to put all that aside, and we need to do and sacrifice as many bad things as we can because we are planning to have a child together? Are you willing to transform yourself for this child? That needs to be answered, because this child that y'all plan on bringing in does not deserve any of y'all bullcrap. None of it. And I'm not saying you need to be perfect, because no one's perfect. But what I'm saying is you need to try to be the best version of yourself, the best parent you can be. And you can only do that if you're sacrificing the things that you don't like about yourself. And you know what they are. Let's be real. The next question is a very important question. This pertains to you two a little more directly than the child. Do we have any issues or problems that you want to work on now? Or are there any issues or problems you see that may interfere with the success of our relationship? Now think about it. Why would that be an important question to ask before having a child? Because the optimal situation, the optimal scenario in having a kid is for a kid to have both parents. But in order for the kid to have both parents, that must mean the parents have to be in tune with each other. Their relationship must be founded before having a relationship with a child. They must both be on the same plane, the same airwaves. There should be no unsureness before having a kid on who y'all are together. If y'all are unsure on each other, then how are you going to be sure about a kid that y'all both create? So you need to make sure that y'all two on the same page. And if there are issues and if there are things y'all need to work on now before y'all have a kid together, because this is not a single thing, right? This is a teamwork, right? This is a partnership, and especially in being parents. And one thing I know for sure from personal experience is that children should have both parents in their lives. Don't forget to take priority in your relationship first. The next question is, since raising a child is a team effort, are you ready to adapt, not give up easily, and help me as I help you do this together? You see what I said there? Help me as I help you do this together. I didn't say help me, and I didn't say help you. No, we have to do this together. This is a joint effort. Since it took a joint effort to make this kid, it should be a joint effort to raise this kid. So are you willing to do that with me? If you can't see yourself working in a team environment with me, which is kind of confusing because we shouldn't be in a relationship if you feel that way. But anyway, this is about the child right now. Then you need to step up and tell me right now before we have a child. Also, I asked you, are you ready to adapt? Because you cannot be your same self in introducing the kid to the world. You cannot think the same ways. You cannot think the same you used to think back in your day, because his or her generation, this kid's generation, is going to be totally different from ours. I mean, just look at it. My generation is totally different from my parents. My parents didn't have no cell phone. They had beepers. My parents didn't have no Facebook or Instagram. They had books in the library. So you have to think differently. Are you willing to adapt to your child's generation and what they will be going through in their generation? And I'm not saying you need to give up your morals or your original beliefs. I'm not saying that. But you need to be open and willing to listen to what's going on in this new generation, since it's so different from yours. Are you willing to not give up easily on me and the kid? Are you willing to not give up? Because it's going to be hard. As parents always say, there's no manual to be a parent. You have to learn on the fly. Every child is different. It would be impossible to have a manual to raise a child, right? But as long as you have a moral compass, a foundation of what you believe is wrong and right, you should not be able to give up so easily. If you understand what it takes to have a relationship with your significant other, then you should understand what it takes to have a relationship with your significant child. And that leads me to my next question. Are we going to have a fair balance in methodologies and ways of thinking and raising our child? Are you willing to communicate when both of our thinkings may cause resistance? Because let's be honest, the way you think is totally different from the way I think. Is your way of thinking different from mine? Do you believe in whooping kids? Because I don't believe in whooping kids. Do you believe in not punishing your kids? Because I believe in punishing my kids. Based on my religion, I believe in this certain thing. How do you feel about that? Do you believe kids should have TVs in their rooms? Because I do. Do you feel me? I'm not speaking on what I'm thinking. I'm just giving you an example of how two different parents can have two ways of thinking on how to raise a kid. You need to get this solidified now. And even if you don't get it nailed down now, you need to communicate this. You need to talk about this so it's not a surprise when it does come up. So, like I said, are you willing to communicate this? We may have had arguments in our relationship about the different ways we think in a relationship. But now we both have a common relationship with one life, a life that we created. We need to get really serious about this. This is bigger than us now. We created this. So let's get our minds right. Let's get on a mutual path and an understanding so we can create the best foundation for our kid. And the last question I want to pose to you is to ask him or her, are you ready to be more patient than you ever have? Because it's a difference between being patient with yourself. It's even a difference between being patient with your wife or your girlfriend or your husband or your boyfriend. But to be patient with a kid, a child, a human that has a developing brain, who is learning, who has to go through heartbreaks, who has to go through new pain. Are you willing to understand that your kid is just going through growing pains, who has to go through all these emotions that you two already went through? So are you willing to be patient to understand that and be patient with the child and teach them in the way they should grow and go? Are you willing to be patient with your co-parent, your significant other, because they are learning how to be a parent just as much as you? Do you have the patience for that? And if you don't, are you willing to gain the patience for that? Because it's going to take a lot of patience to raise our child. As you see, the common factor in all of these things is, are you willing to change for the betterment of your child? The ability to adapt, because you just created a new lineage. You just created a new legacy that is going to bear your name and bear your children's children. Do you understand the significance of that? Because there's no such thing as perfect parents, but there is a such thing as becoming better people. And that will lead you becoming the best parents as possible that you can possibly be. Are you ready for that? Peace and blessings to y'all. Good night.